I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell. Aliens are pouring into Europe. Nobody's doing anything to change it, to get them out.
William Ruto, the president of the Republic of Kenya in the United States of America, anaona kivumbi pale. I can tell you, huyu jamaa alikuwa tu beshte wa Biden.
Because of your leadership, nearly 100% green grid. American businesses have a desire to invest more.
For example, on Haiti, the Caribbean community is facilitating the dialogue among Haitian society. I think President Ruto of Kenya, I thank him for his willingness to serve as the lead nation of a UN-backed security support mission. I call on the Security Council to authorize this mission now. The people of Haiti cannot wait much longer.
But now, Trump amejamu na huyu jamaa. Uongozi ya William Ruto hapa nchini Kenya ndio inamkosesha kuheshimiwa upande wa United States of America. I can tell you. William Ruto moments ambazo alikuwa anaelekea pale, kumbe wa Kenya na akili zao mingi walikuwa wanatuma pale signatures ili William Ruto aweze kuwa questioned kuhusu mambo ambayo yamekuwa yakifanyika hapa nchini Kenya. You see guys, William Ruto amekimbia pale kwa story ya Haiti, and yet huku Kenya watu walikufa wengi, vijana walikufa wengi chini ya uongozi ya William Samoei Arap Ruto. Na anaenda pale mentioning about Haiti, mentioning about things that are not associated, mentioning about things ambazo pia Trump hana haja nazo. Na ikafikia mahali ambapo Trump alijaribu kuzungumza, aliamua kuignore the president William Samoei Arap Ruto.
Solved. It is not mission impossible. The people of Haiti, the women, the children who go to school there, I think deserve the support of the international community. What is going on in Haiti is unacceptable.
Nakwambia kumechemka pale. You are going to be shocked wakati ambapo William Ruto amekuwa confirmed that uongozi wake umekuwa uongozi duni zaidi. Na kuna mtu ama kuna and Trump amekataa kutolerate kwa issues ambazo William Ruto alikuwa anazimeke, kwamba Kenya police walifail kupewa good vehicles. Unaona watu wangu, Kenya police hawakupewa good vehicles, walikuwa wanapewa second hand vehicles. And William Ruto amemake issues hapo, and the moments Trump alikuwa anasimama kuongea, aliongea kwa hasira zaidi and ignoring President William Ruto. Ensure umelike video na anasema thanks for your great support, nyinyi ni watu wa nguvu zaidi. You see guys, William Ruto, the president of the Republic of Kenya, hata mwenyewe ashajua hakuna mtu anataka mchezo na yeye. Asha realize. Na kumbe Rigathi Gachagua wakati ambapo alikuwa anaenda pale, Trump alikuwa ashapata ujumbe kamili wa Rigathi Gachagua. And the United States of America's senators waliamua collecting signatures kwa wale residents wa pale living in diaspora. Unaona watu wangu, and Trump aliamua kuachilia senators wafanye kazi yao ili William Ruto akuje kupata kuwa punished. Unaona watu wangu, now kabla tusikize Trump na tusikize William Ruto venye walikuwa na clash na Trump pale, kumbuka Dan Manzo amejaribu kuspeak na kitu ambacho kilikuwa kinaendelea United States of America, na ndo huyu jamaa alikuwa anaongea in Spice FM. Hii mambo ya vifo, William Ruto wants to compensate wale ambao waliweza kuuawa. So it means William Ruto ataendelea na extrajudicial killings. Juu anajua tu atacompensate. Na hiyo ndio kitu Trump hataki. Unaona watu wangu, sikiza.
Magarini is they are hotly contested. In Magarini, you know, there's a UDA candidate, there's an ODM candidate, there's a Wiper candidate. PA seems to have, decided to negotiate. Sometimes it's wise to retreat in politics so that you do better. And you remember also there is a senator, the Senate position left vacant in Baringo. That's also going to be a serious one. So what happens till these by-elections happen? I doubt whether the House will have any numbers, because different political parties have to go on ground and make sure that they get these seats. DCP is expected to win quite a number of seats.
So the thing that Kenyans pay members of parliament for, to be in-house, deliberating on issues, in oversight, in representation, in budget making, they won't actually do for the next 6 weeks or so, because they need to ensure that party strongholds are preserved.
It's not exactly party strongholds. You also need these members in the House.
But you've just told us that they may not be there. You have minimal numbers in the House over the next couple of months.
That's likely to happen, because especially when it nears the campaign and when it hots up seriously, you'll expect me to go to Magarini at some point and help my candidate. Because this is democracy. It's the price you pay for democracy. So you expect me to go to Mbeere and help the candidate in Mbeere. And Malaba, the same. Malaba is so hot, and we need all these seats, because also without quite a number of seats vacant, you still also don't have the numbers. In fact, there are things you can't vote for properly without. That's why a by-election is very important, and this should be filled almost immediately to make sure that the House have the full numbers.
But Senator, you look at it from that perspective, but then again, a Kenyan seated somewhere would assume that individuals who are vying or running for this position, it is their responsibility to go to their constituents and convince their electorate to give them that vote. That the senator from Makueni County, having been elected by the people of Makueni, should be in the August House to disseminate the responsibility given by the people of Makueni County. That as much as there is the need for political, you to go support your members, but there is the responsibility that you've actually been given by the people of Makueni. So at what point does the role that you've been given become less important, but to ensure another individual?
I've got 3 roles, and that argument has been there before. One of it is to represent people. The other one is oversight. And when you represent the people, you can represent them in so many places. It could be the wish of the people of Makueni that their senator goes to Magarini and helps build their party, or represents the people there, or goes to Mbeere and other places. After all, it's a short-lived thing. And also, you can be on the floor of the House. You can represent people on the floor of the House or outside the House. Sometimes you can sit in the House and you are not very useful. So, or you have no business assigned to you by your constituents on the floor of the House that day. This also means over the weekends, from Friday to Monday, there's nothing wrong making sure we have another senator from Baringo coming in, because we need to be a full house, so that when we are voting, we are sure that we have not lost a motion simply because the seat of Baringo is vacant. So I'm particularly very interested in Baringo and what happens there, because when we were burying our late senator, I could pick the mood of people. When the senator for Busia spoke, he would be cheered. When Sivuna spoke, he would be cheered. But when the UDA ones, of which he had lost a UDA member, stood there, they were not received very well. So this is interesting to follow. We want to know why. In fact, the people didn't want much trouble that day. They wanted a very peaceful send-off. And if people brought too much politics there, we were going to face the locals.
So will the by-elections pretty much show, will be a show of might in terms of how the country is thinking, the direction that Kenyans are taking moving forward, a reason why politicians, members of parliament, senators, consider these by-elections as a do-or-die affair?
It's a very important thing. Like you remember the seat in Mbeere was for DP. So DP led by Justin Muturi, a former AG, Minister and Speaker, we want to see how their party fares. You know, the seat in Magharibi belong to ODM. How interesting if ODM loses this seat. And if they lose, it's because of the fight between UDA and ODM, yet they are in broad-based. That gives you directions as to what could be happening in 2027. Remember, Kenyans are very curious to change the government. So the Kenyans are going to fall under 27 MCA positions to be filled. So it's quite busy around the country. Yes.
But even while at it, Senator, there are many emerging issues that need to be discussed. So there is the issue of compensation and justice for the victims who were killed by the police. There is the aspect of the 10 agenda by the broad-based government that as well are here and it needs to be. There is SHA, there is education, all these matters. So how then, or what assurance are you giving Kenyans today that these will equally be an important agenda now that you're back in the House?
I can assure you the emotions which relate to all those issues. And you remember we already gone to court to stop the body which had been unconstitutionally formed to compensate people. We already have a Kenya National Human Rights Commission. We have and there are many, the human rights bodies, because there are two commissions, one by government, and both of them do a very important job. They've got all the records. They have all the people who have died. We have all the disappearances. There are many questions to be raised. We had also formed the People's Restorative Justice Commission, whereby evidence could further be presented by families, because some of these families got muzzled. You remember the young man who went to the house and was telling Mr. Speaker, we are here. And he left Parliament precincts safely. But by that night he was killed and unceremoniously buried, not even in his own land of origin, which is Western Kenya. So that family was simply muzzled. And by the way, these kidnappings are still going on, but quietly. And the young people should know, because this weekend in Makueni, we buried a young man who, you remember there is a time the bus used to sing Must Go at midnight. So especially when there is excitement of football. So in this excitement of football, when the people are watching football and the political discussions are going on in places people go to do so, if you are seen politically or you are chanting such things, some of these young people are not getting home. Then you are later on found, you go missing, gotten in touch with the family once, said, I'm in a dark place, I've not eaten for 3 days, I've been arrested. And then nothing else is heard. The next day, the body is in a city mortuary. The report is saying, road accident victim. And so young people should know these kidnappings are still going on and the killings are still going on, but quietly. So I believe in such a situation, you need to make sure you get home safely. You need to make sure you are not alone, because the kidnappers are still there. And these issues are worrying the country, and I believe they should come to the floor of the House. And as we discuss compensation, we are discussing compensation and we are still killing people. When will it ever stop?
So, Senator, you must be privy to intel or information that we may not necessarily have. Who is making these young people disappear?
Earlier on,
these criminal gangs, is this still government that's doing this?
It must be still government, because the story sounds similar to what the young people earlier on during kidnappings went through. You remember, like the Mlolongo 4, there were the Pro Boxers and the Subarus. And when 3 of them were captured, they were told, go and show us where your friend lives. And these were the fellows who led the demonstrations around Mlolongo, which were very tough. So they eventually ended up, so 2 were found dead, 2 have never been found. So you would imagine what is going on with those families. Now, when you hear the stories given out by those who had been released, they were in dark rooms. Totally in a dark place. Yeah. And it's a similar situation as this young man. explained before now, he was never heard again. That is, and they were never not be given food. So 3 days, you are be beaten up, you are not be given food. If you have disappeared for a week and you're in a confinement for 3 days, the security systems who have been reported of you are missing should know. So I believe still these are government agents. There could also have been gangs. We have seen the coming of gangs. We have seen people be attacked in town. We have seen gangs working with the police during demonstrations. We have seen gangs when Wamonyoro was coming back home from America, that sort of situation. And I believe these gangs should be stopped. The country must first be secure. The port must be carried safely home. That should not be cracked on the way. So the country safety must be a thing very important, because it means if kidnappings are still happening but slowly, and even poisoning. Some of these activists, they go to places, they get poisoned, they go to hospital, they don't come back. You have some clots.
Is that the new trend now?
That's a new trend. After people are no longer in the streets, kidnappings are still going on, and quite a number of activities. And it's good for young people to know this so that they keep safe. The country is still, justice is still not happening. And with people still disappearing, and you're telling us you are compensating people. So you are killing them and compensating them. I think it's not right.
Senator, I'm just trying to wrap my head around this. Just explain to me, you are a politician. I'm not, and I'm just trying to imagine. So, if I want political mileage concerning any issue, so you've ordered the stopping of these supposed killings and kidnappings, but you're saying they're still going on. It almost feels to me, because there are no protests that are currently ongoing. So we've seen all these TikTok videos of young people in clubs as Manu is being beaten. People are chanting and saying one time Ruto must go, whatever. Surely, what kind of threat do these young people in some of these clubs in small towns, what kind of threats when they're chanting and they're high and they just sing and then they disappear and then they're dead? It almost feels like, are we in a sacrificial space? Is this killing for sport? What exactly is going on? It doesn't make logic, doesn't make sense. Well, killing doesn't make sense. Naturally, but you would assume if there are protests and there's a threat to overthrow, for example, like what we witnessed last year, then you might argue, okay, that was excessive. But things have calmed down. Well, that's what it appears to be.
Even if it's false.
Let me take you through this.
Why do we still have this kidnapping going on?
Let me take you through this one case scenario, and I'm told there are very many, especially after football. Or that's the time people are very excited, and that's the time they shout their best. So I give you this scenario of a young man from Makueni, 29 years old, with a young family. So he goes out to watch football and party, and is one of the people seen shouting one time, Ruto must go. Then that night, he doesn't get home. Then 2 days later, he calls his brother and says, I have been arrested. I'm in a dark place. I've not eaten for 3 days. I'm being beaten up, and we are many. Where we are many. And that's the last heard of him. So after 1 week, you go through the mortuaries, the hospitals, the police stations, and then finally, city mortuary, his body's there. And he has got a chest injury. And they're told it's reported as an accident victim. No records of the vehicle or where, but the family nevertheless decides, let's go and bury him, because there is very little now we can do. And I'm saying this is being repeated several times. You get these sort of reports. So for young people, it's not over. Now that you have some team pretending to go and compensate people, it is not over. And I think this must stop, and this one must stop fast, the killings, the abductions. It were better if you abducted somebody and release them, but don't kill them. You can threaten them like what used to happen earlier on with Bernard Kavuli and those young people, young journalists.
So Parliament resumes today, National Assembly, Senate. And you would expect, among the critical issues of discussions well, besides the by-elections, the campaigns and everything, would be issues like what you've just raised?
Yes, because there is a request for statements. We are going to follow up this so that we can summon the IG and the security team to come and tell us what this is.
This is a bit. I find myself sometimes at pains to understand some of these things. That we get to the point whereby the law seems to be a suggestion. Senator, yesterday we had a conversation with the comms and press, I believe, attaché consular with the Indian High Commission to Kenya. And some of the things that he said to us were not suggestions about how they carry out their elections. They're law. And such a tight precedent has been set that you follow the law. You don't get to do the dalliance with, okay, shall we follow the law today? It's Tuesday, so I don't feel like it. Maybe I will abide by the law on Thursday. You don't get a chance of the days of the week when you will be constitutional. So here we are having a dangerous conversation about the preservation of life, about the making of laws that would put safeguards in place, and we don't seem to be bothered. It's just, well, it'll happen if it happens. We need to make sure that we stick by the law, but the truth of the matter is that it's not being stuck to. You can very well get away with anything. So if we have bodies that make law, that preserve the law, and this law that's been made is not being followed. If I made something and I was tasked by millions of people to do it, and I did it in one way or another, and then it's not being followed or implemented, I'd feel really bad. I would feel defeated. I would feel horrible. Do we have that sense as lawmaking, as budget keeping, as oversight representative bodies that, you know what, guys, we spend all this time working on this thing that nobody really follows? Does it resonate?
Well, I want to agree with you that rule of law is very important, and that's why the rule of...
Now, moments ambazo William Ruto alikuwa na make his speech. Skiza.
I believe that the situation in Haiti can be solved. It is not mission impossible. The people of Haiti, the women, the children who go to school there, I think deserve the support of the international community. What is going on in Haiti is unacceptable. Number two, we must have a predictable resource package. It cannot be what Kenya has gone through, a game of guesswork. It was also expected that there would have been force multipliers, that we would have armored personnel carriers, we would have enough logistical support to be able to make this mission successful. I must commend the United States. They did make available logistics, vehicles, but unfortunately most of the vehicles were second-hand vehicles, and therefore they broke down a lot many times. And in fact, it put our personnel in.
And finally, Trump wakati ambapo alienda kurespond, William Ruto unajua alikuwa na make issues za Haiti nini, but now Trump haku mention anything, haku respond to President William Ruto, kumaanisha amemuignore. Skiza.
Europe is in serious trouble. They've been invaded by a force of illegal aliens like nobody's ever seen before. Illegal aliens are pouring into Europe. Nobody's doing anything to change it, to get them out. It's not sustainable. And because they choose to be politically correct, they're doing just absolutely nothing about it. I look at London, where you have a terrible mayor, terrible mayor. And it's been so changed. Now they want to go to Sharia law, but you're in a different country. You can't do that. Both the immigration and their suicidal energy ideas will be the death of Western Europe if something is not done immediately. This cannot be sustained.